Hey everybody, it's Liam Landry here with the Small Wrestling Lines, giving you my review of the April 25th episode of NXT, and tell you if it was worth it. Anyways, they start off tonight with the Undisputed Era coming down, cutting a promo, and this was really great. Each member got to, you know, uh, have their little piece of the promo and talking in there, so no one was lost, and Roderick Strong gets his explanation to, why he betrayed Pete Dunne. It's also was said that they're gonna have a match next week between the two, and it makes sense. So it's good promo, good way to start off overnight. Start off the night. So overall was really nice and was worth it. They also set up the fact that Adam Cole was gonna have a match with Oni Lorcan right after that, and tells the other members of Undisputed Era to go to the back because he doesn't need them. Showing that he's real cocky. But then, out comes Oni, and they have a really good, really competitive match between the two. And this was nice, real back and forth. I really like Oni Lorcan, a lot like Fabian Eichner from last week. Is another guy who, doesn't really get pushed and doesn't really at least seem to get a lot of wins. At least from since doing this, it doesn't seem like he does. But he's still a guy that always really like the matches he's in. Especially with his tag partner, Danny Burch. That was probably the last time he got wins was against Danny. But anyways, it was a very good match. They played up the rib injuries from Takeover New Orleans a lot. Oni kept going back towards that. The crowd was really into it. And eventually, Adam Cole did need the Undisputed Era to win. They came in pretending that Adam Cole was injured in order for Roderick Strong to attack Oni Lorcan, allowing Adam Cole to pick up the victory. So that was, good way to end it. Oni kind of still, keeps his heat, still keeps his, heat there. He's not, he didn't take a clean loss or anything. Adam Cole and Undisputed Era still showing that they're gonna cheat to win. Get more negativity, more negative heat behind them because of that. And it was nice ending to a really good match. And then they started beating down Oni Lorcan afterwards, and Danny Burch came to run and try to help him, but eventually got overwhelmed. It's probably gonna spawn off of them having a feud against the Undisputed Era for the tag team championships. From that, perhaps as time goes on and Undisputed Era attacks more people, I can see like another stable building up to be against them, because they're just two guys. They're going to get overwhelmed by the four people in the Undisputed Era. So maybe they're going to do that. And it's going to stop with only Loke and Danny Burch. Then they're going to add some new members. I don't know. There's also the other side of Pete Dunne maybe teaming up with Trent Seven and Tyler Bates. Trent Seven, Tyler Bates, who were all part of a stable in England called England Strong Style. Well, I say British Strong Style. That was their stable. They kind of teased that on Twitter. Pete Dunne did about reforming the stable to take on the Undisputed Era. So there's a few ways that can go to people challenging Undisputed Era. So that's a nice setup for the future. After that, we got a lot of women's promos. Really, we got a backstage segment from Dakota Kai, really selling how terrified she is of Shayna Baszler. Shayna did show up to interrupt this interview with Dakota Kai. So hopefully this kind of ends with Dakota Kai going through an arc of overcoming her fears and eventually beating Shayna for the championship. Because it would look terrible for her if they do this whole thing where she's just terrified of Shayna, and then do nothing with it. So hopefully is going to come with Dakota winning the championship and completing this story arc, so her character isn't really ruined before it really gets started, anyways. Then, along with that, they had some quick video packages, basically from all the other women in the NXT locker room, just kind of cutting a promo basically on Shayna, talking about how they're going to beat us. So that shows this great Shayna versus everyone else mentality, because it's heels and faces both angry at Shayna, and that's a really good setup. The one thing that's really a trend in this NXT is setting up the future, and that does a great job with that, setting up the women's division, even without giving us a women's match. No, they didn't give us a women's match, so that's kind of, it's been a while since they haven't given us one, but they still do a really good job focusing on the women's division without even giving us a match, so that's good. I'd say all the segments are worth it. Then we get into our next match, which was a tag team match between Heavy Machinery and Austin Sabatelli. And while this was an entertaining matchup, it's still, these two teams together is so stale and tired. This is technically the fourth time they go on with each other, and it just feels like it's been even more than that. So Heavy Machinery picks up the victory here with Sabatelli abandoning his partner. So hopefully this is the last time they're fighting each other, and I guess Sabatelli and Moss will be duking out between each other, and Heavy Machinery called out War Raiders in there. So that can be some good stuff. More setting up to the future, like I said. Heavy Machinery and War Raiders should work well with each other. They're both, teams of big men that can, still move. So they should, I can see them having good matches with each other in the future. Like I said, TakeOver Chicago is probably where they're going to have their big match. But that was, good setup and all. Like I said, building towards the future. It's just, the match is so played out. I see Heavy Machinery is still trying to add a few new things, and then he kind of added a little more with the dynamic between Moss and Sabatelli, but it's still very tight, and glad to see that they're probably not going to be doing that anymore. Now finally we get into our main event, which is Gargano versus Black. And as you can probably guess, I'm not just going to give you this match, randomly on a weekly episode of NXT, because as Gargano is trying to go down to the ring, he gets attacked by Tommaso Ciampa. And this is a great way for Ciampa to get his heat back from the loss at TakeOver New Orleans. And, still, it's to be the biggest heel in WWE right now. So it was very, a really brutal beatdown. They had to get the paramedics out to put him in a stretcher and take him out to the ambulance. And they do follow this the whole time, really setting up how dramatic and impactful this all is. And, Candice is, of course, there. And that ends with the ambulance driving off and Ciampa staring at it from on top of the NXT production truck. I don't know why he's staying there, but it's one of those things where that's Ciampa ends up just kind of being just a little bit quirky, but I do enjoy it. So it was great, once again, setting up for the future, continuing this great rivalry. And while Gargano is being taken out, Aleister Black sees the damage that Ciampa has caused. So angry that he's lost his opponent for that night, he comes out to the ring, tries to call Ciampa, but before he can do that, SANiTY interrupts him, and Eric Young starts going on a little promo to eventually challenge him for it, but Aleister Black cuts him off and says, "You want a match? We'll have a match right now," which I thought was great. It shows that Aleister's really upset with the situation. He doesn't want to deal with anything, and good for his character and good for the situation. And also, it's a great whole overall situation of how NXT makes things feel really real. The idea that this happened, instead of a lot of the main rosters would have this like at the very end of the night, and that would be the last thing Gargano being taken off, and it wouldn't make sense because Gargano would be coming down to the ring with just like 2 minutes left, and he just had the attack, and that's it. They make it seem like it's really being interrupted, and they really don't have an actual main event, and they're just gonna leave all this time up, and just nothing's gonna happen with it. Then Eric Young comes in, interrupts it, makes it feel like it's a real situation and it's happening in real time. Then the match was, it's a pretty good match. I think that the first match of the night was better, but this was a really, really close second, and definitely worth it. Very entertaining, and it's basically the send off was SANiTY, and then SANiTY minus Nikki Cross because she didn't even come down with them for this last time. So, but Aleister Black, of course, ends up beating Eric Young. Then he hits the Black Mass on Alexander Wolf and Killian Dane. Like I said, sending off SANiTY to go to SmackDown, and overall, the night was very good. I felt everything was really worth it there. I didn't think anything was... I really didn't think anything was skippable. Even the, video packages and the backstage segments, I just thought was still good and well done. So, I thought this was a really good night overall. Not only in ring, but outside of the ring as well. So, overall, it was definitely worth it, and you should check it out. And if you like this video, you can leave a like and share with your friends and enemies. And if you will want to see more videos like this, you can subscribe and hit the bell for notifications. The Small Wrestling Alliance goes live for pay-per-views, and we also go live for our podcasts on Sundays, starting at 1 p.m. Central Time. Normally. We're still trying to get this together. But anyways, you can also follow me on Twitter at Liam_SWA. And until next time, see ya. Oh, one more thing that's probably not going to go up in time. So, but we are going to be doing, Issa and Francesca are going to be live streaming the Greatest Royal Rumble, as it's happening. And then DJ and myself are going to do a reaction video afterwards after we get off work. So look forward to that in the future. And until then, see ya.